Good evening, everyone. I'm Rakhi Gautam from greytHR, the moderator for the Parichay webinar session today. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on how to build a resilient HR function amid economic uncertainty. Now, before I dive into the topic, let's do a little housekeeping on how the session goes. So, the session is divided into two parts. The first part will be the discussion with our expert, which will then be followed by an audience Q&A. So, audience Q&A is where time is all yours, dear attendees. You can start putting across your questions, and we will be sure to take them up towards the end. Also, this session is currently being recorded. So if you happen to miss out on anything, do not worry at all. We've got you covered. We will share the recording with you once it is done. And also, this session recording will be available on our official YouTube channel. So you can always go there and watch it later. Now, I think we have the quorum with us to start the session. So, as we all know, economic fluctuations can challenge even the most stable organizations, putting immense pressure on especially the HR teams to adapt quickly and effectively. So, in today's session, we will be exploring strategies that HR leaders can implement to navigate these turbulent times with confidence. And to, of course, decode all of that, we are thrilled to have with us today Mr. Ravi Singh, President HR at Salarpuria Group. And he will be providing us with valuable insights into building resilience within HR functions and share actionable strategies for success as well that you can implement in your organizations. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today, Ravi. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Rakhi, and welcome all. Good evening to all who have joined now for this.
Thank you so much. Now, before we dive into the question answer session that we have, let me quickly take you all through Mr. Ravi's profile. With over 22 years of rich experience, that's almost 2 decades, Ravi is an accomplished HR professional with a proven track record of enhancing talent practices across diverse sectors, including hospitality, IT, regulatory, startups, and real estate. A hands on HR generalist, he specializes in change management, HR transformation, and employee productivity through the strategic realignment of people, processes, and data analytics. I think data is something that we have. It's like another day with data today. So, notably, he played a key role in establishing the HR framework for the National Payments Corporation of India. He's also led employer branding initiatives across the top 100 NIRF rated institutes, focusing on attracting, retaining, and developing top talent. So I can say we've gotten the perfect person with us today. Thank you so much, Ravi, for joining us.
Thank you, Rakhi.
Okay, now we can start the session. But yes, before we do that, let me quickly launch a poll for our audience here to understand their perspective, regarding the topic that we have. So let me quickly launch it. Okay, this is the question for you. It's not a right or a wrong question, just something that, just to understand your feedback. So, how prepared do you feel your HR team is to handle economic uncertainty and workforce disruptions? I would request and urge everybody to participate in this poll. This will help us understand, your feedback, your perspective, and we will definitely try to cover as much as we can in the session today. We have over 60 participants, so I would urge at least 75% of you to participate, if not the whole 100. Okay, another 20 seconds, and then we will see the result. Okay, I think we have the maximum polling result. Let's just end the poll and also share it with all of you. So 46% say somewhat prepared. I would take that as a very motivating and encouraging sign to begin this session with. 37% not sure. 11% very prepared. Kudos to all these five people here. And 7% somewhat unprepared. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing this. I think this will help us set the context. Okay, I will stop this now. Okay, quickly moving on to the first question to you, Ravi. Now that we also saw the result from the poll, it's very important to first understand what are sort of the red flags or the sun signs that okay, something might be not okay in the next say 6 months. How do we be prepared for that, right? So when market conditions become unpredictable, what are some signs that HR leaders should look out for to adjust their workforce strategies early on, according to you?
Yeah. Uh, a very good question to start with. See, early indicators are all the places. The only thing is we need to be scanning these all data point every day in and day out. Whatever businesses you are in operating, it can be automobile, it can be FMCG, it can be fintech. You have a trend which is circulating across some trend which can be showing that okay, business is going up or going down. Like recent today, which I read, there is a pile of automobile or cars, uh, personal used cars, which has been piled up in India around 17 lakh unit, which is 4 to 5 months of reserve. So in last 3 to 4 months, just morning data point only, and this is a huge pile. So the way last 2 years the automobile segment was doing beyond COVID, the focus was on four wheelers because people wanted personalized cars and it was suiting up. But suddenly in this financial year, which is from April, there is a decline trend. You name any of these automobile car makers, they are seeing a downtrend. Now, the business numbers is a very clear indicator how it has been going up or down, what is the trend for this year versus the projection, what you did is something which business leaders and HR should be aligned together. The second one I'll say is beyond your own business, what your competition is going through. Because certainly that's also an indicator that today or tomorrow there is something which is going as a change in consumer behavior pattern. So if your competition is facing some challenge now, and several of them are facing, it might come to you as well. So these are some of the pointers which HR leaders should also look forward to and realign their strategies early on. Um, realign on what? Realign on manpower planning. Like the projection might be that okay, you'll go ahead and hire in H2, which we call October to March of this financial year, 200 resources. But that was when everything was going right. That was when this trend was picking still up. If it's not picking up, then hopefully you should uh, totally reduce that particular trend and not go ahead with the hiring. Realign your current strategies because there will be some numbers which will be churning on their own. We are saying that okay, there is some attrition which is happening. Now, do you need to refill them back if the trends are not right? Are some things from my side of it at this first question? I think is relevant pointers to pick up being an HR guy.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Ravi, for that and setting the context because, it's very important that you highlighted realigning your HR strategies with business goals and strategies as well. Earlier we would think that, okay, HR's work is just, getting attendance, getting the leaves approved and all of that. But now, especially after the pandemic, we have seen the role of HR has completely transformed. It was always a role that takes the business forward, but it wasn't getting that kind of recognition. But we saw in the pandemic the role of HRs and how they came forward, and we were able to work effectively. So thank you so much for setting the context. Also, just Ravi, if you could speak a little louder, I think it is fine, but if you could speak a
Sure,
little
sure.
louder. Yeah.
I'll do that.
Okay. Okay, moving on to my next question, which is again similar to what we just discussed. According to a report by McKinsey, 73% of organizations faced workforce disruptions during the pandemic. And I think we don't even need any stats for that. We saw it happening, right? So how can HR proactively prepare for similar disruptions in the future and stay ahead of the market changes?
Uh, See, disruptions in today's world will keep happening. I joined HR in 2003. That point of time, I remember we had a book on change management. So change was still planned. I remember change was planned into multiple phases, which will start, and then you'll align your people, you'll have a journey on change management. I believe today's change management cannot be planned. It has to happen every day. It has to happen every day. As you clearly said that HR were only on attend, I still see 70, 80%. So while hiring, I still see a lot of them not having business numbers in their mind. For me, it is always about numbers. We also, and you started this session with how important the data is. So when I go through newspaper, it's less of editorial, more of numbers, which I feed in. Let it be on the real estate segment where I'm right now operating, or in hospitality, whether it's picking up or not. What is the trend? What is average room revenue? What is occupancy rate? Which is the hotel? For me, these data sense is most important thing while deciding for a manpower or their journey across organization. See, I always believed in one thing. I'm not dealing with a resource which depreciates with time and use. Unlike there are four resources, we say that man, machine, material, and money. We are the men or human resource is the only resource with continuous use or continual use. It will always appreciate. So the challenges will be high because it's only my resources or my function. Now, everybody is a human resource manager when we say in today's world, but material will very rare appreciate. It will mostly depreciate. Challenge with me is my resources appreciate in value, in skill as much as they are relevant to your question when you are saying and when you ask that okay these many people or this many percentage by one of the agencies, the only thing is relevancy. 10 years back or down the line, if you're doing one thing, one particular approach, and today's it's happening in one other approach, when we say about AI or Gen AI, I think we as an HR should also adopt to those. We should know what kind of a changes will be required in a skill set also. So people should realign themselves day in on day out. Morning they are reaching, evening they should know the trend. If overall employees are into this particular cycle that okay they are very well aligned with data, they're aligned with skill trend which is happening, this kind of a challenge which we saw in COVID or anything else will have a very less impact. Hope I answered, or do you like a few more examples? So relevancy based upon change, and change is not planned, is something which is my 2 cents on this.
Definitely, completely agree with you on that because, as you said, first of all, data is very, very important. It helps us, sort of forecast what's coming, right? And also, as you said, about skills, what happened in the pandemic, I think everybody would agree with us when we say this, that even, if you're not, say, from the IT background or if we don't work on our laptops every day, we would be very hesitant in even using Microsoft Office for
So
that matter.
my question, sorry, I was interrupting. My question to this group who is participating, do you know where to change your LAN details? Or do you know where to change your IP address details instantly? Do you know
Mhm.
how you can reconfigure on two Wi-Fi networks? How you can connect multiple devices? These were some things which we were having a challenge 3, 4 years back. Now, because there was IT team, hardware team, software team, which was supporting when you were at home, it was not possible. They trained you. Now, still in office, I see this particular pattern that okay, for a printer configuration of a page is stuck, or if there is an IP address challenge which is coming. These are some of the very generic things which everybody in today's workforce has to sort in yourself. It is not 20 years back when you were to call an IT guy to reconfigure an IP address.
Definitely. And, as you said, these are very little things. We don't even, so what happens, there is a phrase, right? Until it happens to you, you don't realize how significant it can be. we see, okay, ye to chota mota sa little things only, right? But then when things like this happen, we realize, okay, this might not be my area, my core area of working, my expertise, but this is something that is helping me work and collaborate with teams, which we saw back in the pandemic, where people were even struggling with using say Zoom or attending a webinar. Now it's like a everyday thing. So definitely this is something that the pandemic definitely has taught us. And yes.
One example, it's coming, and I think for the crowd, uh, I had a colleague in HR, and there was an interview which was lined up. This was 3 months back, and pretty senior level guy, around 15, 18 years of experience. And he was having this on a VC interview format. The meeting was with MD. He was not well planned. Means there were some network issues. He took 5 minutes and he said, I'll come back. He never got a call back. So MD, he understood that, okay, maybe if he's having challenge configuring and planning his video conference or VC setup, how you're going to turn around the organization, which is today's generation. And this was the example in which I said you could have been well planned. You could have tested this. You could have checked your audio. You could have kept two backup Wi-Fi devices. Like I am sitting with two. Even if one conks off, I can get back to the other one. So when we call BCP, in our day-to-day life, it is not only some functions which will do BCP. Everybody of us should have a BCP. Let it be an interview stage, let it be an organizational change stage, let it be on a hiring stage. Every stage we should have a BCP.
Definitely. I think everybody would agree with us on that. And this is how we have seen, organizations grow, people grow, and not just the HR professionals, the whole, every individual in an organization has grown. And it's very important to upskill and reskill yourself every day. Before we wouldn't, have so many conversations about reskilling, upskilling. Now we see conferences happening on this, right? Even in a virtual world, we are talking about doing L&Ds virtual. Before we would work, sit in a room and everybody would be just jam packed there, 50 people and just attending a seminar. Things have changed, and it's very important that we change ourselves with that and reskill. So thank you for that. Moving on to my next question, which is, when we talk about difficult situations, uncertain times, there's always that factor that comes in. Okay, anything bad happens, anything uncertain happened, anything which we were not expecting happened, we will immediately cut down on our costs, right? That is the first thing that comes. And when it comes to cutting down costs, it's also, it's a general thing that happens, that we first go to the HR, that okay, what, we have a situation and we have this challenge. Now when we talk about cost cutting measures that we do, in your experience, what do you think are some of the creative ways where HR can still manage without, with cost cutting measures, without sacrificing employee engagement or their motivation, morale, because it's immediately salary cut, no hikes? So how do we still keep them upbeat and motivated in an organization?
Sure. See, what I have always believed, and I'll tell you also, is it's all about communication. As much as you keep them aligned on, it is not only one day you go and tell them about cost cutting. It is for me like every day you are keeping them aligned, that how businesses are doing. I know it's not possible on a daily basis from organization side, but team managers or HOD can keep them aligned. From my side as an HR, I have kept a practice that every quarter we do a town hall, either in current setup or in earlier setup, telling them what is our business projection, what are our plans on a people side, are we hiring, what kind of a trainings we'll project in next quarter, are we implementing any of the new projects, what is happening to our current and already in the projects which we're working upon, what has happened to the projects which have already delivered. So basically keeping them aligned on a business side of it. It's not suddenly that you're not keeping them informed about what's happening and suddenly you reach them that, okay, we'll do a cost cutting. They will not add any value. So for me, it is always that keep them aligned. And the day you need them, that, okay, today we have to work out together on any process or any cost cutting measures, get them along with you. Tell them that what can be done together. There are so many inputs which people give it. I know when you said that they come back to HR, it's mostly that people have thought as a cost which can be cut immediately, but they are the toughest one to be done. They are the fixed cost immediately that cannot come down. And none of the organizations should do it that way also. Um, for me, it should be the last force. People should be the last one. You should look out for the process improvisation. You should look out for the material savings, or you can look out for the lean sigma measures, or you can look out for anything else. But people should be safeguarded, because at this time, when people come and save you from any of the uncertain time, um, what also is important is from HR also. See, I'll give you one example. In COVID, and I was with NPCI, there were two challenges before COVID. One, we had good amount of leaves which were there in organization. We used to give one of the best amount of leaves across India. Um, 30 days privilege leave, 10 days sick leave, 8 days casual leave. Still, people will come back and say that there is no work-life balance. Why? Because there was one thing which was leave encashment, which is prevalent across India. So people don't think that leave as an going ahead, taking a break, enjoying with family. They first would like to save their minimum number of quota. If it's 80 days, they will save their 80 days of quota for a reimbursement whenever they exit the organization or on an annual basis. So it's a financial measure for them. It's no more a work-life parameter. So we changed this entire thing in COVID, and we said, okay, there will be no leave encashment. Why? Because it's a cost to the company also. We are going to pay you. You go ahead, rejuvenate, and come back more productive. When you are stressed out in an organization, you are less productive. And I'm giving you these many leaves. Basically, you go rejuvenate yourself and come back. Now, this was one engagement as well as cost-cutting measure for us also, which was very creative. And we said no leave encashment henceforth. So I'll say communication across team and taking some measures together, which can be input from employee side of it and some input from HR. Also taking people in execution rather than only HR executing and communicating it will be something which will keep the morale high and keep people engagement as well.
I would say just one sentence spoken like a true people professional. Because it's very important to, as you said, that it should be the last route that we take, not the first, when it comes to our people and who are building the organization. And thank you so much for sharing all the strategies that you did. Right now, and first thing that you talked about was communication and being very transparent, which is very important, right? It shouldn't be that one day we wake up and we decide to do a all hands, and we invite everybody and say that, okay, there's a sad news to break, or there's a happy news to break. I think it's very important to always keep them posted. So there, when we say that there has to be regular communication and being transparent with them, I think leadership also plays a major role there, right? So leadership is crucial, especially in uncertain times. So in terms of qualities, right, what would you suggest? And we have a lot of HR professionals who have joined us today who are early in their careers, right? So what qualities should HR leaders develop to guide their teams effectively through these economic challenges?
See, very relevant, because the end of the day, it will come top down and it will never be bottom up in a uncertain time. Its leader will they will guide mostly in uncertain time and when the things are ad hoc. Now, if you'll ask me, gone are the days when leader was the only who knew more, who did more, who worked more, and who also planned more. It is no more about giving everything more, because the time is limited. You have 24 hours. So leaders have to be the champion on all what we talked about. The champion of communication. The leader have to be champion on data, because if leader is not aware and he's dependent upon, okay, the Excel will come and dashboards, then he will update himself. So when we say today, it's a real-time data. It's no more that you can leader will ask and he'll get in data. It's no more a data which is served model. It's more of data which is already available with leader. So I'll say leader who is more data aligned and not taking ad hoc decisions. So data-driven decision is one. Two is, I'll say, empathy, which we always said, because from when we're talking about people, it's mostly about empathy. You need to see that, okay, there are a lot of things which will come before and people should come after, because you have to protect them first. It's they who are your brand ambassadors, either being inside or being outside. It's they who have uh, been there in your successes. So if you'll ask me, trust is one thing. So leaders trust or leadership trust is one thing where people believe that, okay, no matter whatever will happen, my leader is going to support me. My MD is there behind me. If that kind of a trust is built, these organizations survive. So in my current setup also, when I'm working with Salarpuria Group, I'm proud to say that people have been there for last 25, 30 years. And when I joined 5 months back and I asked what, they said, okay, we always knew salaries will come on time. And it was never that a salary was delayed by 1 day also during COVID. Um, it was a faith on leader. It was a faith on the leader driving that organization. So trust is one factor, being a leader that people should trust you. Two is data-driven decision. Three is empathy. If you'll ask me instantly, these are the three things which comes into my mind, which every leader should imbibe.
Completely agree with you on that, and I hope all the HR professionals here have taken notes to be data driven, to be empathetic, and to be trustful. That okay, I can say that I work for this organization and this leader will take care of me in uncertain times. And it might be just another sentence that people say, okay, this is just something that you said, right? But it holds a lot of weight, and it shows that the kind of organization that you have been able to build. So that's very important. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now we talked about leadership development, right? So there are top leaders and senior management, but there's also middle management, right? A lot of our employees, say 30% of employees maybe, would be reporting to middle managers. So a lot of communication, a lot of to and forth, a lot of day to day, just talk happens with those managers, right? So when it comes to that, how can HR empower these middle managers to foster that resilience in their teams during these difficult times?
So I'm saying middle management. See, I have always considered them as the main line on channel and communication. Whatever leaders decide, end of the day, leader cannot go individually to each team and communicate. So individually in organizations, I always say a policy, if there is one lead policy and there are 10 teams, end of the day, how these 10 teams practice these lead policies depend on these middle managers because they are the decision makers for their own team. They mostly report to these guys. So there are 10 organizations in case these all 10 middle managers are misaligned. So the first responsibility of leader is to take these mid management all the way together. They're no way different. You have to keep them equivalent on the skill set. You have to keep them on a day-to-day basis, if it's a board decision or organizational change decision, aligned. You have to think of them as an immediate at a later stage. They should be ready to take over tomorrow if the leader is not there tomorrow. So for me, I always treat this middle line as an equivalent to your leadership. It is no more that way that, okay, they will be trained and after the leaders exit, they will take the role. No. As they have to behave like a immediate successor, they are equally groomed. They are equally targeted like a leader. So their trainings, upgradation, skill set upgradation has to be well focused like a leadership team itself. Because end of the day, they are the communication challenge connected to the people. Leader will not have time if I'm just taking an example. There is one team having 300 strength. So I was there that okay, middle management is no more different than a leader. They have to be aligned all the way and they have to be in immediate succession. They cannot be planned that, okay, it can be only after 2 to 3 years the guy is going to take this role up. So for me, they play a critical role. You have to treat them like a leader and not like a middle management anymore. Yeah. So that's from me, Rakhi. Over to you.
Sure. Thank you for that, Ravi. Now, yeah, as you said, yes, it's very important. It's not that okay, only the leaders are leaders. For maybe the freshers, for somebody who's reporting to the middle managers, they are our leaders, right? And it's very important that we have that communication regularly going on, and they also, make us feel that okay, I belong there, and I have this trust within my manager. This trust that I have, this faith that I have in my manager that everything would be okay and they will keep my back. So thank you for sharing that. I think one thing which is common for either the leaders or for the middle managers are being data driven, being empathetic, and being able to foster that trust within their teams to keep going in difficult times as well. Okay, moving on to my next question, which is sort of a similar question only, but it's also very important to when it comes to uncertain times or in a general scenario as well, to keep the employees engaged. They shouldn't feel like, okay, there's work but there's some disconnect, or there's a lot of work but I'm not able to do anything because again there's a lot of disconnect, right? So yeah, there's also a report by Gallup that said that companies with high employee engagement are 21% more profitable. And of course that's true. So what are some key HR strategies that HRs can implement to maintain engagement during times of uncertainty? Because obviously there's always when it comes to challenging times, there's a melancholy of sadness already. You are feeling there's a lot of doubt and insecurity that comes in, and then it sort of also impacts your work. But how can we still keep the employees engaged and motivated, and they also perform and deliver? So what are some strategies that you can share?
So what we did, I'll tell you, basically, what we did is we created cross-functional teams. So beyond what they were doing, we tried to expose them to what they were also interested in doing. So somebody who was an admin but was very excited to work in MIS team, we asked him to work along with the MIS team um, during this uncertain time, doing some special projects because see, you are doing your routine things, but you always aspired one of the teams across your organization. So somebody in HR might be having inspiration to work in product team. And if you know that, okay, he was always inclined to work along with product, why don't we go ahead and create that cross functional teams for a special project? Like if you're launching something which is like, take an example, if it's an HRMS, which we want to, I'm taking an HR example because it's an HR team, and if you know that, okay, somebody from IT was very much excited to implement something on HR side of it, take this IT person. If you are always knew that, okay, there is one of the product guys who was always excited to contribute about HRMS software, take this product guy who might not be exposed to HRMS, but he might bring in relevant information for configuration or installation or upgradation of what tool you are looking forward to. Now, this drives up engagement because they were doing their monotonic things and they were always excited to take part into something in an organization. Now, these cross-functional team work together and they totally ramp up the productivity level also of an organization because the energy level is high. They are doing something what they were always excited about beyond their normal day-to-day routine tasks. So what I will do is during this uncertain time, I'll try to create a cross-functional team for special projects because then that passion of doing something into the other team will come up, and two, they will be coming out of their monotony and also learning a new skill set. And this will be default. It will not be through a learning platform or something else. It will be by implementing one of the projects or products within the organization itself.
Very true. I think one of the most easiest way to engage somebody is to make them learn something new and something that they're already interested in. So thank you for sharing that. And as you said, this is another skill added to your portfolio. So this will help you grow in your careers as well. So there's a lot of definitely benefits to this. Thank you for that. Moving on to my next question, which is, we talked about uncertain times, leadership role, middle management role, how to take data driven decisions, which are very important, and of course keeping the employee motivated, engaged. Now there's a lot of things happening, they're already feeling a little down maybe. So when it comes to that, it's also very crucial, and it's the responsibility of the organization at large to make employees feel that they belong, and also to make them feel at ease. Their mental health definitely shouldn't be affected, and we have to keep we have to keep employee well-being as one of the top goals, maybe
100%.
organization goals. Right. So when it comes to that, how can HR prioritize employee well-being initiatives during these trying times?
See what we did. Again, I'm telling you not by an example. I'll take this example from NPCI. I was at NPCI when COVID hit. And we took a lot of measure because, see, for everybody else, they were going through different times. Somebody's parent were not well. Somebody was, again, having a maternity break. Somebody was having mental health issues. Now, overall, as an organization, I think there are various tools. And on a regular basis, we did one thing at NPCI. We had a annual health checkup which was mandatory for all employees in their CTC, cost to company package. When you give them money, they don't go for a check. So we included it in a CTC and we said, you have to go, we'll bear the cost. We involved family also. So for leadership and mid-level role, when I was there, now I think they might have included others also. Spouse were mandatory. So not employee, employee plus spouse. So we knew the parameters and we categorized employee into red, amber, and green zone based upon their basic health parameters. It can be SGPT, SOP, or it can be cholesterol, or it can be hemoglobin. There were base parameters which were defined, and on that we used to categorize employee into red, amber, and green zone. And our focus was mostly into red zone employees. When we knew that, okay, for this set of people, the cholesterol is high, the mental stress or BP is high, or sugar level is high, how we can go ahead and next year bring this red cases down and don't add up another green zone employee into this red zone. So for us, it was those 1,200 employees categorized into health parameters into these categories. And I always say for me, HR is a number. HR is everything you ask me, I'll get back to a number. And into a number, maybe I am not that true HR professional. Somewhere it works out. The only thing is you have to put a slide of a brain and it still can be turned around. So when you give me this example, for me, most of these cases, either a physical, mental, financial, we used to do one more thing, which was CIBIL record check before hiring. Now, CIBIL is a score parameter, and we always decided that somebody who's not doing financially good outside will not do financially good inside organization. So we'll take somebody with a good score because then he is aligned. Internally, once employees there, see, when you said mental health, there is a financial health also. And now today's generation, they are going through financial health issues. They spend a lot. I go through data trend which says that credit card usage has been high. And if the credit card limit is of lakh, they're spending 90,000 rupees on their card just during this puja. So one of my employees, I'm just taking an example, junior employee, um, earning 40, 50K, getting an annual bonus of around same 40, 50K. I'm just giving an example. And I asked her that, okay, what's it did with money? And she said, I bought a smartphone. Now, 30 years back, this was going into something which was called as an asset, not a liability. And I am thinking, okay, entire 50,000 went on a mobile. Now, how she's going to plan this up? She could have saved 20 and then spent 30. We teach our employees and try to teach them financial well-being also by taking them through sessions. What is a fraud? How much return can be generated max? What is not a return and it's a gambling? Because end of the day, we are seeing today's generation are getting into mental health issues because of financial health. And to me, beyond that physical, mental, it will be financial health also, which matters. And to all of the participant here, I'll say that try to track your employees on these parameter. Track means not going and interfering into their personal thing. But if you know, then try to support them in that way. If somebody's coming up that, okay, they need a loan, guide them either through external support partner or internally.
Very true, Ravi. As you said, when it comes to employee well-being, we are talking the holistic well-being of an employee. That's include mental, physical, psychological, and financial, of course. And of course, HR teams can plan these sessions where, this is like one session where we are talking about, this is more like a training for HRs, right? We could also do a session where, the HR teams can plan a session on financial well-being, or how to save big on your taxes, or where to invest, personal financial session where we can invite some external speaker and they can come in and share insights. So that would definitely help. And I think in these trying times, or when there's especially uncertainties, these kind of sessions would help them go into the right direction. So thank you for sharing that. Now that we are also coming to the end of the session, I just have one last question for you, and then we'll quickly take audience questions. I don't see any questions right now. I would assume that we are discussing everything in detail, so you don't have any questions. But apart from this, also, audience, if you have any questions, please start putting them now. We will take them soon. Okay. One last question, since we talked about well-being, we talked about leadership, we talked about middle management role, role of data-driven decision, all of that, right? Now, technology is something that today we can have n number of discussions, and it will not be completed until we have one specific conversation on technology, right? It's become like the father of the house. Nothing can be done until they come in, right? So when we talk about uncertain situations, and we saw this in pandemic also, the role of technology has definitely taken up, right? It's not just that, okay, previously only the engineers or somebody with a software background or an IT background would care much about technology. Today, even a 3-year old would have a smartphone in their hand, and they would be scrolling through reels. This is how deep rooted technology is going to become, and it's like a pro or a con. It depends on how we are using it, right? So
Agree.
when it comes to this, there's a report that shows from Gartner that 58% of HR leaders are increasing their investment in HR technology. So and we at Great HR, we are also a full suite HRMS. From hire to retire, we provide attendance management, leave management, performance management, recruitment, your engagement levels also. Kudos to somebody who did good. So keeping those engagement, employee engagement also. So if you want to suggest, maybe not like the tools, I would definitely suggest Great HR, but somebody who's just starting out their HR technology journey, right? What are maybe some of the parameters that they should keep in mind, that okay, this is something that they can start off with for their HR journey, HR tech journey specifically?
See, when you'll ask me, then again, it all starts with basically hiring. So, a suite which can engage with candidates outside your organization, a suite gives you onboarding experience to the candidate. They're able to log in, they're able to upload. Because we're talking technology, we are talking giving that experience, and you cannot have that still paperwork going on in your organization. When the employee comes, you are giving a paper to fill up, you scan and then upload. So basically, something which gives them an experience of filling this and getting them onboarded online. Um, they need to also have a software where announcements to the employees, broadcast to the employee on a real-time basis. So, like in a Mumbai scenario of today, we have to declare an half day off. I'm just taking an example. It's a July and there is a severe rain, and I have to broadcast a message. We don't want to go through that traditional SMS platform. HRMS or a tool should give you immediate access to the employees on an announcement or a broadcast. You'd like your employees also to engage on this tool rather than opening up a laptop. So your pay slips, your attendance, your approvals, your your other things like performance parameters, how they have been going, or performance management. Any of the suite which is giving your employee this experience is something which should be suitable enough. Because I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
I'm
Ravi,
audible.
yes.
Okay. So before we spoke a lot about this, but this all starts with people engagement on HRMS. So what is your number of active users? So I have, say, I'm taking an example. I have 200 employees. Now, do my employees log into HRMS software daily? Where they engage, what they check, how is the session length, how is the screen flow, okay, what is the software retention, okay, are they opening up, are they keeping my app in their device, or they're deleting and going back to somewhere else on a web version or something, average time on the platform. Now these should be some parameters which HR should also start tracking, because if we have a Flipkart which excites, or if we have Amazon which excites, then end of the day, for an organization, the HR should be HRMS should be a software which should also excite them for 10 minutes daily. Just checking their team strength, who is in, who is out, what is the average lead pattern, what is something. So dashboards or HR dashboards which should excite managers also, mid-level leaders. So they should open up these data sets, that how many employees are in today, how many are on absenteeism today, how many are on planned leave today versus something. These data sets should be there with all, not with HR also. So any tool, any HRMS solution working out on this, having some of these features, I think should be something to start up with.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that, Ravi. And I think my key word from this would be excited, right? You said excited. When we generally discuss anything, right, we talk about how it will perform. This is our objective, and it's fulfilling this, right? But when we add words like, okay, this should make us, feel excited. I think that's very important, because automatically, I think your 90% of work gets done because you're already excited to explore it, so you would be keen, okay, no, let me explore this also, that also. So thank you so much for putting it that way. And this has been a wonderful conversation today. A lot to take from this conversation. Thank you so much once again for joining
Thank
us
you.
and
Thank you,
sharing
team.
this. And of course, when it comes to HR, when it comes to organizations, when it comes to people, right, there's never enough. There's so much that we can still talk about. But considering the time we had today, I think this was very insightful, very comprehensive. And thank you once again. Let me just quickly check if there are any questions from the audience.
Sure.
Audience, you can take us questions now. There's one comment actually from Hiral, one of our participants. Thank you for detailed and insightful session, Mr. Ravi and Raki, great HR. I would like to have recording saved for future references as well. So this is for you, Ravi. Thank you so much. And thank you,
Thank
Hiral, for
Thank
sharing
you.
such
Thank you all. Thank you all for joining and keeping patience with us. Normally, on a festive mood and on a normal weekday, it's difficult. But still, if any question, I think you are going to share my coordinates with the participant and others. You can get in touch. I'll be personally helping you out also if required.
Definitely. So, as Ravi also said, we will share the thank you mailer with all of you, where the recording of this session will be also there. So you can always watch it, and we will also be sharing Ravi's email ID with all of you, so you can connect with him separately. Also, take insights, have just conversations, right, and foster connections there. What I would still request to do is, we still have some 55 people with us present on the call. I'm just going to launch the second poll. So we started off with, how prepared you are, or what do you feel. Now, after this conversation today, I just want to understand if this has helped you in any way. This would help us, take feedback also. So after today's session, how confident do you feel also about implementing strategies to build a more resilient HR function in your organization? So I would urge each one of you to participate. And as we said, we will be sharing the recording, also the credentials. Also, in the meantime that you are using and participating in this poll, we also have a Great Tribe community. A lot of you are already a part of that community, where we have HR leaders like Ravi, who can help you out with any questions that you have related to HR in general, labor laws, taxation. So you can sign up to this community today and get insights from our HR leaders. There's one comment from Shanaz. Thank you, Ravi and Raki, for the session. Thank you so much, Shanaz, for joining us. It was a pleasure to host every one of you. And okay, we have 60% participation. I would urge the rest of you to also participate in the poll. It's very encouraging. 54% of you are saying very confident. 35% of you are saying somewhat confident. There's one person who's not very confident still.
So
And
I think Raki, from 11, it has gone to 54, and I'm happy. I remember it was 11% on very confident.
right. So see, I think, yes, Ravi.
Sorry.
No, no, please, please.
No, so I was saying this is again data team. Don't forget what you started in the beginning. For me, very confident. I remember if she can relate back was 11%. As I said, number it only showed to me once. And when you are saying now 54, it's a sense which makes me happy. I'm saying try to relate every of your practice, policies, everything else as much as possible on a data, because when HR moves into data, businesses accept that.
Definitely, definitely does. And we are just happy to help you out in this journey with the session today that we have. As we have seen the numbers grow high and people becoming more confident. And of course, apart from this, as I said, we have our knowledge platform, Great Tribe, where there you can also sign up and get your
So,
insights from there. From our website also, you would have access to blogs. You can go through that also and just help understand and navigate the world of HR that you have been doing very confidently, I'm sure. So thank you so much once again, everybody, for
thank
joining
you.
in. And I just maybe see one more question. Okay, so there's one question. I think we can take that up, Ravi, if that's okay.
Sure, sure, we can, we
Okay.
can. I'm
So
here.
there's one question from Shehnaza. Just making employees engaged and hearing them out their problems. It still seems HR is a okay. It's a statement first that just making employees engaged and hearing about their problems. It still seems HR is a thankless job. How can HR keep themselves motivated? I think this is a very important question because HRs
So,
are at the
so,
end of
so
the day employees too. Yeah,
100%, very nice and minute. But the only thing is, see, HR has to think themselves as in marketing. Whatever initiative I do in my organizations, they normally, and that's the reason I headed marketing in my last setup, I'll tell you. I go ahead and brand it with numbers, simply. Um, Thankless, there's nothing thankless. The only thing is you have to make visibility. HR don't make things visible. They believe they have done, and that's okay. No, it's not okay sometimes. You have to go and tell to the organization, okay, that you took some initiative, and there were these many people who participated, these many people who gave positive response, these many people who. So I'm giving you one number now. I got a tool. I'll not take it's Udemy basically, an online tool which I got at Salarpuria. 50 days and for 20 logins, we completed X number of hours. And then I took the dashboard and deactivated those users who were not continuously using, got them realigned to the users who were excited about learning. Within 10 days, we saw 50% up. So something which has not moved for 40, 50 days has moved now within some weeks. So the only thing is we have to show these movements and the action behind these movement. So Lady, good question, but the only thing is it's not listening. It's about beyond listening, what action was taken. What was the outcome of that action? Go ahead and tell people. Go ahead and tell organization. So we are making an impact on a day-to-day basis. It's not that okay, we are there only to listen. No, beyond listening, whatever we act, it again roll down into some number, either a less attrition or a more engagement or a more training hours or you can say more attendance, less absenteeism. There are so many parameters: time to hire, acceptance rates, total cost of workforce, replacement cost. I'm just giving some numbers. um, Diversity. So if I'm just giving an example, if you join an organization when the diversity, now we always knew diversity from a male female ratio. Okay, the males are this many, females are this many, you increase females number, diversity is good. That's one. Beyond this, there is a geographical diversity. Whenever I join an organization, I say that, okay, when I joined, I had only employees from 4 states or 3 states. When I left, there were employees from 10 states, which was purposeful. So now from Pan India, I have got a geographical diversity. When I joined, there were only 5 skill sets which were major. I'm just taking an example. There were most of them MBAs, some of the chartered accountants, some were BTechs. But when I left, there were BA architecture, there were BCom guys, there were BA guys, so I got a skill diversity. So present this dashboard. But before presenting, you have to plan as an HR that what impact I'm going to make from today to next 1 year. So I think numbers cannot be challenged and businesses will start respecting.
definitely. Thank you so much for that, Ravi. And I hope that answers the question for you, Shehnaza. That it's very important, as you said. First of all, data that we started off with. Sometimes we do have a lot of strategies. We work on them as well. There would be tremendous work gone into that. But until we track, and share the feedback with everybody, we would not be able to highlight the impact that we are creating as a team. So thank you for sharing that insight, Ravi. Totally helped. There's one feedback comment from Kirti Mankani. Thank you for the insightful session. It indeed highlighted how crucial data driven decisions are in navigating challenges and shaping resilient teams, especially during uncertain times. All thanks to you, Ravi. And
Thank you.
thank you so much, Kirti, for a very encouraging comment. We are happy to help you all. And thank you, everybody, once again for making this such a engaging session. I think when we talk about employee engagement and we are talking about it on a webinar, right? So webinars have to be also very engaging. So thank you for participating in our polls, sharing comments, asking those questions. And yes, of course, once again, thank you so much, Ravi, for taking out the time.
Thank you, Raki. Thank you for coordinating this so well and putting those in a sequential wise and keeping them engaged. Thank you, all participants. Thank you, Raki. Thanks.
Thank you so
Correct
much.
back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As I said in the beginning, we will have the recording on the YouTube channel and we will share it with all of you along with Ravi's credentials. Apart from this, if you have any questions, any feedback, anything related to greytHR as a product that you would want to understand, you can write to me at rakhigotham@greytip.com and I will get back to you. Once again, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Ravi, and see you all
Thank
soon
you.
in the next session. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.